Most people dream about moving to Italy, but I left Italy on purpose.
And now we're using everything we're gaining and learning here in America to eventually make our way back.
I'm Matteo, I'm 34 years old, and I'm finishing my PhD in Pittsburgh.
And I'm Tony, I'm 29 years old, and I work remotely as a software engineer in IT.
A question that everyone asks me every time when I meet them for the first time is why I moved to Pittsburgh from Italy, so why I abandoned the majestic and beautiful Italy. And so the main reason is mainly because of opportunities. So my PhD and my focus is in bioengineering, and I felt like that Italy wasn't the best area and the best country for me to be. And I felt like that the US could give me much more options and much more work opportunities. And don't get me wrong, so I love my culture, I love my family, I love my friends. I just knew that for me to grow professionally, I wanted and I had to be somewhere else. But coming here, I discovered something about money and finance that had nothing to do about my PhD.
For me, on the topic of money, as an American, even though yes, there are all of these tools and resources that you hear about, so a 401k, a Roth IRA, a brokerage account, these are not terms that I knew or learned about until I was well into my 20s. Money talk growing up was not about building, but rather surviving, just really trying to get through the days, through the weeks, through the months, because money was not endless. And although I didn't grow up with an abundance of money, one thing I was taught was to try to preserve whatever I did get and whatever was coming in, because you didn't know how long it was going to last. Now, if I knew then what I knew now, that little bit that I was given surely would have gone an even longer way. But I'm grateful for those humble beginnings because it's truly set me up now to work alongside and with Matteo to really grow a future that is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And it really wasn't until I met Matteo that I seriously started looking into certain investment accounts such as a 401k. I got my new job at IT. I see there's a 401k presented to me, and then I tell you a 401k.
I honestly had no idea what a 401k was, but the first time that I learned about it, I was very excited because, you receive free money from your employer. It's awesome, and I couldn't believe about it, and this is something that in Italy doesn't exist at all. In Italy, the culture is different, so we save money and we buy mainly properties, but we don't have the culture of investing aggressively, for instance, in the stock market. But coming here in the US, I discovered a whole new world. So I discovered, like we mentioned, the 401k, the Roth IRA, the traditional IRA, all these different kinds of accounts that are tax advantaged, which is awesome. And also I discovered the normal brokerage accounts, so that you can invest in these 2-3 index funds that can potentially grow over time and give you more money in retirement. And so this is really, really exciting to me.
And we really started learning together about these financial vehicles, right? So we really started digging into the online articles and forums and YouTube videos to understand which investment account makes sense for us. Even when we were just dating, we were getting into these conversations, the conversations no one really wants to have, right? So learning about what he knew, what they do in Italy, what we do here in the US. Did I have any debt? Does he have any debt? All of the things that people don't talk about, we talked about in the beginning.
And so as a couple that wanted to live our life together, so we had to have these hard conversations. And so we had to ask each other, where are we going? Where are we building our future? But also how we are achieving our goal. So how we are building this future. And this is why we started focusing more on Cospire. Cospire is when you can invest enough now so that you can cost later and you don't need to think anymore about investing in the future. And this option, I wasn't thinking about it at all before moving in the US and when I started my PhD, but this is one very good way for us to potentially move to Italy. And so for me would be a way to move back to my culture and to my family and to my friends.
So I bet you all are wondering, where are we in this financial journey right now? We talk about Cospire, we talk about going back to Italy, we talk about all of these dreams and hopes and aspirations that we have, but where are we? So right now, I have around $68,000 of student loan debt. So that's really the first thing that we have been focusing on, is me paying down my student loan debt to free ourselves of these large and quite hefty high interest repayment plans. Outside of the student loan repayment, I'm also of course doing the minimum maxing that my company offers for the 401k. So they do 5%, I do 5%. Have to make sure I get that free money, like Mateo was saying. And I also put around $200 additional into an investment account, a normal brokerage account on the side, in addition to this 401k contribution and match.
Me, unfortunately, as a student, because I'm still finishing my PhD, I cannot invest in a 401k, but at the same time, so I earn around $36,000 per year, so not a lot, but I'm still able to invest around $500 every month, and I keep it easy, so I invest usually around 70% of these $500 in a US fund, so the total US stock market, and 30% on ex-US stock market, so to grab also the international markets. And as soon as I will find a job after my PhD, hopefully my salary will be higher and I will be able to invest more than this $500. So the goal would still be to keep investing in the stock market aggressively, but also to try to understand with a tax professional, but also with a professional that treats with overseas people, what are the best accounts for us. So we don't know exactly if we want to keep the Roth IRA or a traditional Roth IRA or the 401k, because we don't know exactly how Italy treats all these kind of accounts. But this is something that we are currently working on, and we'll keep you posted on whatever we discover.
So even though we are a couple with two incomes, a dual income household, we don't want to just go out and blow our money, buy a brand new car, buy the biggest house that money can buy. That doesn't speak to who we are. Who we are very simple people who like to do things with intention, with love, with care, and also with a bit of fun. And for us, our fun looks a little different than someone else's fun. So not shaming those who maybe like to buy the nice expensive things, but for us, we are learning that the early sacrifices now, and sacrifice, air quote, because again, we're not eating, the last grain of rice and the last bean in the can, no. But we know what it is that we want. And what we want is to reach Coast Fire, move to Italy, see more of the world, and live a life that really speaks to us and who we are.
And we're not financial experts, so we are just two people, two friends that are building life together through spreadsheets.
If you've enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe and join us as we're coasting to freedom.